Let's go. Hey, Michael Sanger, what's the word, huh? Martial law, let's talk about it. Hey, give it the recognition it deserves. Let me show you the truth. Behind the scenes on how it go and what they do. Stretch it out, let's get loose. That's it. Roundhouse, that's it. You get a black belt for all your...
What's up, guys? It's Mike over at Martial Gossip. I have Vince Little here from American Princeton. Vince, welcome to the show. Thank you for coming on.
Hello, it's an honor.
All right. Vince, you are going to be episode number 1 on Martial Gossip, and I really couldn't think of somebody more fun to have on. We are going to be, our goal here is to be the most watched martial arts channel on YouTube and Spotify. And I think we're going to be able to do it just by being the realist, by talking about the unspoken truths and the dark secrets of our industry that we've seen. And something that a lot of studios a lot of controversy on how they handled COVID.
Yeah.
And you guys are in Jersey, right?
Yeah.
So what happened with you guys in Jersey? You guys had pretty strict lockdowns. What were the measures that you guys took?
So, I mean, immediately we had to do Zoom, which everyone kind of did. As soon as it happened, it was, couldn't even be. I mean, people looked at you weird if you walked into your own business alone without a mask on. It was like, really, it was insane. So, as soon as I think it was the middle of March, I think it was right before St. Patrick's Day is when we had to as soon as the world shut down, we shut down, immediately. So, as soon as that happened, we had to switch right over to Zoom classes, and then just I feel like the first month was just damage control, trying to just plug this bucket that just had a massive hole in it, losing students and
Yeah. Some people were telling me that, they lost I lost 15% of my clients. We were in New York, man. We lost 45% of our clients, overnight. And I looked at them like, man, some of these red states, you guys are fucking lucky. Your governors didn't do shit. Nobody cared. Jersey, New York, California, it was bad.
Mhm.
We pretty much opened up as soon as we could. We really didn't wait for the all clear. If there was an inch, we were taking it. If we could,
100%.
boom, we're in. We did it. Did you guys wait for the governor and all the stuff to be released, or did you
Honestly,
push the envelope a little bit?
first, as soon as we have this huge backfield area behind our building. So that was as soon as we were able to do some sort of thing outside, we were doing that. And then as soon as I guess it was right around June, we opened back up. So we were only it's 2.5 months where we totally just couldn't be in there,
Okay.
But yeah, as soon as they gave, it wasn't even. I guess I went before. As soon as they I'm trying to
So did we.
yeah. As soon as it could, yeah. We were all right, here's these square areas you have to enter. We did all the precautions.
And
And
did you have any interaction with police or any checkups and state people coming in?
well, that was the other. I went super low key on my social media. I kept it super internal, and I just didn't. Because I'm used to being such a social, everywhere, not even just as a
Right.
person, but for my business. So I kind of just shut everything down, and I made it super. And the other thing I did too, I was promoting, I was just posting Zoom footage all the time, even though I was doing stuff in person. I tried to just really, key in okay, yeah,
Oh no, we're not open. It's just Zoom.
yeah, yeah. It's archives from 3 months ago.
Yeah, I mean, we had people calling the cops on us. We visited us 6, 7 times. You can't be open. And the cops would come in and be like, "Ah, you're all right."
Yeah, yeah.
In our area, it worked out well. If we moved, into Queens County, New York City, would have been a whole different thing. Well,
I
that's
think
good.
the
That's
other
good to
thing.
hear. Do you know what your downside was during COVID and having to come
Must
back
we
up?
lost.
Yeah.
It was 60%, 67%. It was, yeah, it was,
Yeah,
yeah, it was,
you wouldn't have survived if you had fully
yeah,
closed for 4 or 5 months. Because I
yep.
think in New York and New Jersey's probably right there with it. You had the guys from Attila's Gym. They said fuck it, we'll fight everything, and they lost a lot.
Mhm. I
But
actually just saw that I think it was 6 months ago, they revisited it all, and they ended up winning in the long run.
wow,
Yeah, this year though. So you think 2020, 2024, They just didn't
Yeah,
stop.
4 years later,
Yeah.
hundreds of thousands of dollars, stress. That's a lot. I don't know if I'd want to be going through all that.
No.
Uh, so we're both, well, we're both pretty young owners, operators. We both made a ton of mistakes. We both have hired friends. I know you've probably hired a few friends or people you've known from the right the sort of pro martial arts circuit.
Yeah. Yep.
How did you hire them? What was it kind of like bringing them on?
I mean, I think the other thing too, like you said, like we opened on young. I opened when I was 19. So
That's
when
uber young.
yeah, like Uber. Yes, mega Uber, super young. And I only knew how to teach. So it was more just like I got the opportunity. I wasn't doing college fully. I wanted to do it. So me and my dad opened the school, and I knew how to teach good classes. That was it. I didn't know how to market. I didn't know how to do any of the back end stuff. So when my classes were getting bigger, I just was like, how do I get help? So I remember one of the things I did. I know my cousin, he I think did martial arts for like a few months. So I remember like I threw him
he,
in a
he could take the black belts.
yeah, it wasn't that bad. I remember I think I was like, yo, how like what size are you? And he's like, I don't know. I'm like, well, what are you doing like Thursday? So I threw like a brown belt on him. And I was like, all right, dude, like you're gonna take a group.
It's like,
But
all right, before you come in, just watch like a Chuck Norris movie or
yeah,
something.
yeah. Get inspired, you know? But he just was like, okay, like, yeah, I'll throw you some cash, it'll be great. So I remember he came in, and I actually ended up signing up a few kids that night, which was cool. So
Well, I'm gonna say this too: is there's so many consultants out there, right? You got to use this system. Here's how you're gonna sell people. Here's the packages. Like you can be successful just because you're a good business, just because you're a good person. Like if you're just running a good program, you have like if your meal is so great, your restaurant's gonna get known. Like people are gonna
yeah,
come in
yeah.
for it. I
Hmm.
mean, I've gone to fucking dive bars and they blow up just because
Yeah.
of how great what their product is.
The vibes are good, they care about their people. And
Yeah,
even
and so
like,
like so much of that, I feel like so much of the consulting stuff coming down,
yeah,
it's like those are sort of like the sprinkles. That's how you're really going to get your stuff together. That's how you're going to be able to reproduce things. But your personality, your abilities, how you connect with people, it almost can't be taught. Like it's
yeah.
one of
And I
those.
feel like when you're that sole owner and you have to like make rent and you just have you need to do this, that conviction you have behind that night where you have like
Yeah.
5 miles. I don't know. It's just like, yeah, you could train a sales script, but if like you have that dog mentality of going in, like, I need to close these people, or like I'm not gonna be able to make it through this month. You just hit a different level of conviction in closing people. You just do it, you make it work.
Yeah, when you need to make rent, you do anything. And one day I'll tell my story publicly about horrible things that me and Chris did to open up our business at 25 years old, and how we made rent the first 3 months and the fights we had. Um, Speaking of fights, you eventually had to let these people go.
Yeah.
So how did that go? Did you just eventually turn around one day and say, turns out, having, a seventh grade level of martial arts ability isn't good to teach. You need to get out.
Yeah. So, well, one of the things, so my cousin was great actually. He was a cameo here and there. So my one friend, he was actually from one of the schools, not the one that I used to go to, but like I would have him in to teach here and there, and he was just really bad with kids. And it was just not, he just would say things that it was just really bad. He knew the curriculum, he knew what he was doing, but it was just
Yeah.
like I felt uncomfortable like having he just was
Yeah.
really
He's playing DMX for like the warm up for the 8-year-olds.
yeah, just he had no and he didn't know. And I was just like, dude, you can't and I tried a few times telling him, hey, you can't say those things to a 5-year-old and eventually it just he texted me one time, he goes, "Oh, so what's my schedule this week?" I'm like, "There's not." There's no schedule.
I
Like,
just
when
did
am I
a
coming in?
I feel like I'm becoming more like that person though. Like I have kids and I sort of care less about uh like like the eggshells where I used to be before I had kids are less there now. Like, oh, I got to make sure these kids are comfortable and calm. Like I was doing an event for my town just a couple of months ago, and this one kid was just hanging around. And I'm like, hey, you want to break a board? And he's just like, no, I just want to watch. I'm like, let me see you throw a punch. And he threw a punch like a not 8-year-old who's never done it before. Yeah, it did. And I go, that's terrible. You punch like a sissy. Go get your parents and tell them to bring their credit card. And I said it just like that. And his reaction was, okay. And they wind up they wind up becoming members. Uh, and my GM who's sitting next to me was just like dumbfounded, like, whoa, you can't just say that to a kid. And like my I don't give a fuck factor has gone sort of through the roof.
Mhm.
Uh
I feel like that's with most of society. Everyone thinks that, oh, I have to fluff everything. So when you get somebody that just stabs the jugular like that,
yeah.
like, oh, all right, well, fuck,
Yeah,
I guess
people kind of
cool.
relate a little bit easier.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
being said, the standards in the martial arts world, it's there is none, right? Like there's no unified body of things. It's not like I mean, there's a few organizations that do a really good job of it. Um, uh, at what poundage should an instructor stop? Like how big, in your opinion,
Did you say poundage?
poundage? Yeah, because I've seen some husky people
Oh,
out
oh, you're
there.
talking about weight. I was like,
Yeah. Yeah,
I
I'm
didn't
talking
know.
about that guy who's a 10th Dan who's just got, a 50-inch gut,
Yeah,
and
like
he's still
60.
talking about respect, loyalty, integrity, and he's lost all of it for himself.
I mean, they should just not ever, There is
So
no scale. It's just stop, please.
I don't understand it too, because everyone gets into this for like the love. I've never met anybody who's been like, I've been doing martial arts 50 years because I just want to make money and this is how I know how to do it. Everybody I know is like, I've been training my whole life, or been training, got started at this age and just I love it and I opened up my own studio. I feel like it's everybody's story. And then you see people who just lose all that passion, and you're like, hey man, you need to just go refine yourself and refine your passion. It kills me to see it. I'll tell you this: you ever see someone who is like out of shape, but their skill level is super high? Like you see a guy who weighs like 280 and then has like full splits.
It's like the guy. Do you see the video of the guy with the skates? And he does the backflip, and he's like, "Oh, this is the peak male performance."
Like, listen, you're not gonna be like, I'm not the same athlete I was at 22.
Yeah,
Like, it's not there. I don't have the. I could do it. Like I could say that if I really wanted to, I could do it. But on my priorities of things that's going on in my life, multiple businesses, kids, uh, uh family relationships, my
sometimes.
own, like my yeah, I'm still training, still
Yeah,
trying to stay fit, lifting weights, taking classes, still working on my craft. Like, yeah, that's still going to be part of it,
I
but
think
work
what
on
you
the
just said there, though, if you really wanted to do it, you could still do it. I
yeah.
think that's the standard. It's like that guy, like if he really wanted to do it, he couldn't do it.
No, it would be a shock. It'd
Yeah,
be a shock to their system. Like
yeah,
and I sort of have those moments too. I think Joe Rogan had that advice. He's like, you can't just make changes. You got to do things that are going to last.
yeah.
If you're going to start working out, make it convenient, make it part of your thing.
Hmm.
Yeah, so some of those people are kind of out of it. Um, with COVID, we pissed off a ton of people for opening up quick. We had some bad reviews. Almost all of that. I would say this: almost all of our bad reviews, and we don't have a lot. We're like 4.8 and a half, 4.9 on Google and Facebook, and the few we have bad are, they have I wanted to cancel and they charged me for an extra month. Uh, I'm still waiting for I did have I think my worst review was I had a parent sign up their kid after, and it was his stepson. After like 5 months, the actual dad was like ripping on the kid for taking martial arts class, which I thought was like super, super fucked up. Uh, but the kid lost interest And dad's like, all right, I have to quit. I'm like, all right, listen, you're within your first year. There's a notice. And he like blew up at me. And then I lost my shit. It was like the one time I lost my shit on a parent, and I
Mm.
told him he wasn't special and he had to pay. And then that's what the review was. Like, saw Mike, told me I wasn't special, and I had to pay. Have you ever had? Are all your review like? Are you a 5-star school? Do you have any bad reviews
I've actually had no bad reviews on paper. I've never
on
had.
paper?
I
What's your
have had.
worst review off paper?
God, let me think. All right, so this is okay. So there was this one time, and during COVID, well, actually, it was the first month we got into switching to Zoom and everything, and this kid came in to every. So we had like, multiple Zoom classes a day, 5 days a week. We ran, you run the like virtual parent night outs. We did everything. We did
Yeah,
like,
we did them too.
yeah, we went all in. So this kid went to everything, and I'm talking like 5 days a week, plus the parent night out, plus the da, 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 da. And it was probably it was a month because his membership went to go, and he got charged. And the parent called us and was like, "Hey, I just got charged my membership." And we're like, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, I thought you guys were just doing this for free." I was like, and like, it would have been a thing where okay, he came like once or like twice, but like this kid went every single day. He
Yeah.
went to the parent night outs that we ran every week. Like he had perfect attendance, and the guy's like, oh, well, we just thought you were doing it for for the kids for good vibes. I was just like, what?
Yeah, that's how I want to get paid. Fucking sunshine and rainbows.
Yeah, and hugs, virtual hugs,
Virtual.
virtual high fives.
I'll tell you what, I'll send you a virtual bill. You can use it to check out with your virtual credit card,
Yeah.
and I'll take the virtual cash or send me a Bitcoin. That's virtual. Like, you know,
They were literally like, oh well, are we gonna get refunded? I'm like, no, and they were like, all right, well, we're gonna like dispute it, and we're like, what? And this kid had been with us for a couple of years at this point too.
hmm
It
Yeah,
wasn't.
we
Yeah.
we end we end up modifying our agreements and then send them out too because we had something similar happen where attending virtual training counted. Like where they couldn't turn around and say you didn't perform the thing because you're closed. Yeah, that's a shit move on them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, I'm kind of surprised at all that, but well, not too surprised, I guess. So, finally, what standards have you implemented to make sure, I guess, your instructors are staying fit, business is consistent, you're delivering that good product?
I think recently I've just been really into team training a ton. A lot of my instructors compete. Actually, probably like 80% of them compete actively. So they're already training with me outside of things that are instructor based. So we're always training. I have a group gym membership. We go work out together. We lift. We do, different things on curriculum review. I'm always trying to not only do things with me, but I feel like there's also a big stigma in the industry where, it only has to come from master sensei. Like only
Yeah.
they can teach your team to be better, and I think exposing my team to outside of my four walls has been the
hmm
most beneficial to them. That's why like going to tournaments, open tournaments, like getting that private lesson at the tournament from somebody else or going to that other school and taking a class. I just feel like it's just such a no for some schools, and I feel like that's what makes them grow the most. Because I know when I was that age, I was.
Yeah, that's an incredibly interesting thing. I remember when I was in the ATA and my instructor, Jamie Ward, I was asking to do all these things. And this is something looking back, hindsight wise, like, man, if I had someone coming up to me, asking me these things, wanting to do these things, I'd be so fucking hyped. I'd be
Yeah.
like, man, I've got this fucking person wrapped up. This is what they're going to do for the rest of their life. Like this, their heart's in it.
Mhm.
I could have been, and it happened to a few people I worked for that could have, I mean, I'd still be working for them if they had set that path up right. But I
Yeah.
go, I want to learn, more arts and stuff. Like I kind of tapped out with the Taekwondo. It was just like, what's next? Oh, another form or another weapons thing. And I was like, I want to learn how to kill people. Like I want to learn
Yeah.
crazy shit. And there was a guy, Vincent Ramonde, who did Jeet Kune Do in North Jersey. And I would actually travel, like my dad would take me to Jersey like once a month for a few months, and I would train him. And she got so pissed at me. She's like, it's disrespectful to go to another trainer. And I'm like, I don't like what fucking I don't have any loyalty to you. Like I pay you for lessons. I've been asking you to teach me those other stuff. You didn't. So
Yeah.
I went somewhere
It
else.
wasn't
Like,
even the same style too. It was a different style.
yeah, and it was something you didn't do.
It's like your
And
English teacher being mad at you that you went to go learn Spanish.
yeah, yeah.
Like,
That's
how dare
exactly
you?
it. You went around like, huh? Like
Yeah. Poor
it,
kid.
it's one thing in history where that, if anything, there's the like the dark secret that a lot of these old school people have this, you owe me because I teach you punches and kicks. And it's like,
Yeah.
well, hey, we're these character traits are supposed to go two ways. If
Hmm.
I'm going to be loyal to you, be loyal to me. I
Yeah.
remember asking like, I want to learn this business. I want to learn how this stuff operates. What do I need to do? And it was like never a lesson. And if one of my team members, I'm sure if one of your team members right now was like, hey, how do you buy a business? How do you start this? Or like, how would I market this company? You'd be
Yeah.
like, you should come in and meet me on Tuesday at 2 o'clock, and we could sit down and we could start doing that, and their minds would probably be blown.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. Uh, last, actually, this will be our last question for today. Is I have here in our show notes is firing a student. So we talked about firing a friend, having to let them go. Just, hey, you're off the schedule. Uh, it's rare I have to do it. I typically don't. If I feel that the person's not a good fit, I tell them we're not. And that happens like once every 2 or 3 or 4 months. It's not often. But having to let go a student, have you had that experience?
Yeah. A couple times. Yep.
What was sort of the roughest one you've dealt with?
I think most of them, it's the ones that have been around for a while. You know, I
Mhm.
think, and what I find with those is it's usually not the kid's fault. It's usually the parents' fault. It's
Is it was it a culture problem?
yes, every
So
time.
like the kid not sort of getting into what the studio's about? Like explain how
It
that
was
how that
more.
works.
It was more. It was more the parents. The parents thinking wanting more, and I think that's another thing that happens when you open up a school and you start from scratch. It's your first one, and you're not, once you replicate and you have multiple, it's just rinse and repeat. But once you're your first one, you're 19, you're 25, and you're just trying to learn how this thing works. I feel like you do a little bit more for those core whatever members, and most of the time they're they can be good, but there's a few that get almost like a sense of entitlement from that. And then when you start kind of creating a consistency to things and they want things done a certain way that you did back when you had 20 students, 30 students.
Right. Right. Like we're
And
not seeing you as much anymore. You're like, well, yeah, I can't teach 7 days a week, 5 classes
yeah,
a day. I'm getting burned out. I gotta hire someone. Like, so you're gonna have a different instructor.
yeah, yeah. So there's that. And then just, it was just, and then it's like, why aren't you looking at my kid doing this? And then like, it was just, it's usually, it's never the kid. The kid's just kind of like,
Yeah.
just doing what they can. But yeah,
My favorite was in our kickboxing studio. It wasn't even our martial arts studio. After the person's first class, it was a mom and daughter. The daughter was, I think, about 16. The mom was probably in her early 40s. She showed up in jean shorts, and we're a fitness cardio studio. We're not we're not a Thai boxing studio.
yeah,
The first thing she said was, "Where's the ring?" And like we all looked, I mean, Chris and I looked at each other like, what ring? She's like, well, where are we gonna fight? And I'm like, oh, like
yeah,
why did you think you were gonna fight? Well, this is kickboxing, ain't it? And like had that
yeah,
like sort of
like,
ghetto attitude,
yeah,
yeah. And halfway through the class, Chris came up to me and he's like, hey, I don't want to be around her anymore. Can you just tell her to leave? I'm like, what happened? He's like, she says the fuck word a lot, and I don't want to. I don't want to be around it. So we
maybe
basically
uncomfortable.
told him like, I don't think this is for you.
Yeah, I'm uncomfy.
sometimes sometimes you
Yeah,
get those crazy people that come in.
yeah. I know I've had a few in the first time, like I've had a few that try to, which I think is insane because like, you know, we're a business, you know, which if you go to a gym, you can't most of the time, like a commercial gym, you can't go and negotiate like your price. It's just like here's your it's on the paper.
Right.
And I've gotten times where we're going to sign up and they're just like, yeah, well, can we lower that a little bit? I'm like, what?
Yeah.
They're like, you know, like I think it needs to be here. I'm like, okay, but that's not what it is, you know? Yes. And then it's
No.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's
So,
like, why?
a bit of advice I got about that too is anytime someone mentions that, like it makes me feel like crap because in my mind I'm thinking like, what made you think that this was negotiable? Like, what about where you are or how I'm presenting makes you think that this is a discount or a place that you can haggle?
Yeah,
Like you
yeah,
wouldn't do that. Now, does America give like because that's part of a franchise? There must be like, hey, no,
yeah,
there's a typical franchise document. Here you go. Like it's very professional looking.
yeah. And then the nice side about it too is, you know, they not to say we blame it on the franchise, but if they act like that's the way we justify because it's legit. It's like, hey,
Yeah,
this is what it is. This is like I can't be flexible. This is what I was given, you know? So
right.
yeah,
Yeah, as part of Rumble, it's the same thing. Not everything I'm gonna agree with or like or be able to do. Like there's certain things that aren't in my control. And people will complain like, yeah, this say the 30-day notice is, I mean, 30-day notice is like 30, 60-day industry standard
yeah, 100%.
everywhere. And I'll be like, well, this is bullshit. Like, yeah, franchise. You know,
Hate those guys.
fuck them. All right. Ritz, thank you so much for coming on. If you guys like the show, please like and subscribe, comment, and let us know what else you'd like to see or have Vince back or questions you might have for him because we'll definitely have him back.
Yay.
Thank you, Vince.
Thanks, man.
Let's go. Hey, Michael Sanger, what's the word, huh? Martial law, something about it, hey. Give it the recognition it deserves. Let me show you the truth. Behind the scenes on how it go and what they do. Stretch it out, let's get loose. That's it, roundhouse, that's it. You get a black belt for all